Hey folks, it's Eugene here and welcome to another video. Today what I'm going to be doing is showing you what the iPhone 15 Lidar sensor looks like in the infrared range. In a past video, I did the same thing with an iPhone 13 Pro Max, but now it appears that we have a different sensor on the iPhone 15. So what has changed and what does it look like? That's really what I'm after. I've seen some images on the internet where somebody just took some snapshots and it definitely looks different, but I need to see it for myself. I'm really curious about, what was there before and what's changed to now. I have an iPhone 12. Let me just take this out of here. So this is the original one. This is like an iPhone 12 Pro. So we're going back a bit, but it still has the LiDAR, and the 12, 13, 14 Pro and Pro Max series all had the same sensor. So there shouldn't be any differences there. But I also have in my pocket here, I've got my new iPhone 15 Pro Max. And so that has the LiDAR sensor, and we're gonna see what the difference is like. We should be able to see it pretty clearly. So let's start with the iPhone 12. We're gonna put it into here, just like that. Let me get that in here. Something like that. And what I have here in front of me is a Nikon. It's a D7500, and this has been converted. So this guy over here can see in the infrared. We know that the sensor is somewhere in the 800 nanometer range. I'm not exactly sure where. It's hard to find those kinds of specs. And we also know that Sony is the new supplier of the new sensor. Now, there's been some rumors about, the sensor is more power efficient and it may be a sensor that could be used in the new Vision Pro. Don't know, it's hard to say. But one thing is for sure, the pattern is different. So let's have a look. Now I've got the camera up close here, and in order for me to see the pattern, I gotta shut off all the lights, so you're not gonna see me or anything else. I'm hoping that you'll see enough of the screen here when I'm sort of fidgeting with things or whatever. But even so, I'm gonna record the video and then I'll bring it up on the screen. So let me shut the lights off, and actually first let me fire this up here. I'm gonna get Recon 3D going quickly. Okay. And that's already on. As soon as you go into Recon 3D, the LiDAR sensor is on. Even when you don't hit record, it kicks in and it's on. Not sure why it's like that, but that's the way it works. Let's see here. Let me shut the lights off. Let me close this here. Okay, now this camera's not on, so let me turn this sucker on. And let me go to live view. All right, so hopefully you can see that. So this is the original pattern that we have on the 12, 13, 14 Pro and Pro Max. And so when we slow this down, what we have is sort of like an interlaced series of dots, and they start off as a 12 by 12 grid and then they move around, and so it looks like this overall pattern when you look at it at 1/30th of a frame, but if you slow it down you'll actually get like individual components of this thing. So that's what it appears like right now at 1/30th of a frame. That is typical of what we had before. You can always look on YouTube. I've got another video that I put up that shows what I found, and in that video I was comparing the 13 Pro Max and the iPad Pro, and I think it was from like 2022 or something like that. Okay, good. I'm happy with that. Actually, let me just record this. All right, I'm just gonna record this just so I can bring it up in the video later on. I can slow it down, I can have a look, and you'll see the shifting pattern after a while too. So in terms of my settings, I'm using 1/30th of a second exposure. I've got aperture of f3.5 and the ISO is at 20,000. So it's pretty high in order for me to get enough sensitivity in the sensor to see these infrared dots. Okay, good enough. I'm gonna stop that off here. Let me stop the recording. Okay, that's stopped. Now let's switch out the phones. I need to turn on the lights here. Okay, let me open the door. Get some natural light. I'll leave that on. It'll look white, no big deal. And let me just shut this down. Okay, and let me put that in my back pocket, and I'm gonna get my iPhone 15. Make a bit more room here because it is a bigger phone. All right. There we go, that looks pretty good. Let me fire up Recon 3D. Okay, just on the main thing there. And let's do this again. I'm gonna shut off the lights. Let's see what this pattern looks like. Okay, so now you can see that we have a definitely have a different pattern. Fewer dots, and the dots appear to be a little bit larger. And I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. We'll check it on the in the video. We'll bring it into like Premiere or something like that and see what it gives us. But you can see that, you know, this pattern appears different. It's just not the same kind of arrangement. So we're at the same exposure, 1/30th, f3.5, ISO 20,000. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna cycle through and change the exposure. So from 1/30th, I'm gonna go to 1/40th. Okay, now we can already see some things fading in and out. And you know, when things get out of phase in terms of the timing, you might see some interesting things. So just as I'm looking at it here, I can see that there's some weird stuff happening. Okay, and then things are moving around. Let me go a little bit higher. This is 1/50th. Now, one thing that I have noticed before, like just like you're seeing right now, it almost appears like there's like a bottom half and a top half, and they're kind of like behaving similarly. So let me go up a little bit more and see if I can show that here. It's kind of like what happens to the top happens to the bottom. Let me see a little bit more. I'm at 1/80th of a second. Okay, there you can kind of see how there's like, yeah, see how it's cycling through like a top half and a bottom half. And it's hard to say. Let me go up a little bit higher. Okay, now we're starting to see it here. So I can see that it's almost like there's two separate patterns that are kind of like repeating themselves. So I don't know if this is split some way different. There you go. You can see it again. Very interesting. Okay, let me record this again because I haven't recorded this. So I'm forgetting. So this is 1/30th of a second. There we go, that's the regular pattern. Let me go up much higher so we can see maybe the effect of the double pattern here, or like two halves almost. So this is 1/60th. And so, yeah, it almost looks like it's being repeated or something like that. Again, I'm just guessing. It just, you know, I'm just what I'm observing here. And it's cycling through. Okay, let me go up a bit higher. Let me go to like 1/80th. Okay, at 1/80th we can kind of see what's going on here. Okay, a little bit more. We get fewer points, obviously, just maybe because of the timing. This is at 1/100th. Okay, so now you can see how there's like two halves. It really does look like it's like painting it twice, kind of like with an offset or something like that. There you go. I don't know if you can see that on the GoPro, but hopefully it's recorded now and you'll be able to see this. Let's go a little bit higher. Let's go to 1/25th. Okay, there you go. You can kind of see like there's like two halves. Again, I'm just guessing at this. This is just what it appears like to me. So we could probably go a little bit higher. What happens if I go really high? This is like 1/250th of a second. And okay, really slowed it down. So it's out of sequence. And then let's see if it bounces back into sequence. I got nothing now. Okay, now it's coming back in. But you see how it's like painting like two halves, like a top half and a bottom half. It's very apparent at this speed. It's a lot slower to come in, but you can kind of see it as well. And it just has to do with the timing at this exposure and, you know, the rate at which these dots are being projected. Pretty cool. Okay, I'm gonna leave it at that. Let me go back down to 1/30th. Okay, that's 1/30th. That's pretty much what the overall pattern is sort of looking like. And I'm gonna stop it here. I've got this as a recording. Let me stop. Okay, great. What we're gonna do is we're gonna go back up to the computer. Let me turn on the lights here so you can see what's going on. We're gonna go back up to the computer. We're gonna take this video and we're gonna do like a very brief and quick analysis just to see what we've got. You know, unfortunately with this kind of equipment, I wish I could sort of freeze frame things a little bit better, but hey, it seems to be good enough and it may be telling me something about the pattern. So let's have a look and then we'll go from there. Okay folks, I am back at my desk here, and what I've done on screen is I've loaded the videos that I recorded with the Nikon camera, that was the infrared camera, up into Investigate. So that's Axon Investigate. I was thinking originally of using Premiere Pro, but you know what? This is easy enough to do it in Investigate and easy to advance frame by frame. Now, what I have is the first video here, so if I just press play here, this is what I recorded with the Nikon D7500, and this is the 12 Pro. Okay, this is the iPhone 12 Pro. It's the older pattern, the older sensor. Now, if I switch over and I go to the new sensor, that's what we have here. So now you can see there's definitely a difference between the two, and I have confirmed that the dot sizes do appear larger at the same distance. So there's definitely something going on there. Now, I've also done a side-by-side, and let me bring that up here because that's really, I think, telling. Now, in the videos, I start messing with the exposure and stuff like that, but this little piece here, okay, starting from about here, you can get a good appreciation of the overall pattern. And so if I freeze frame this, you're not going to get the whole pattern. You have to kind of play it all to see everything like this. You can see that there is definitely a difference between the two. Now, what this means in terms of resolution, in terms of the fidelity of what we're getting, it's not entirely clear right now. At least in Recon 3D, there doesn't appear to be a difference. Even when it comes to the range, I've done some preliminary testing, there doesn't appear to be a big difference in the range. So maybe this new pattern just has more to do with power consumption, or maybe has more to do with how efficiently the sensor works. I'm not entirely sure. But this is pretty much it. I'm going to play again a little bit, and you can get an appreciation for the differences in the pattern. Definitely a difference in the two sensors. We'll have to do more investigation and figure out, what this all means to Recon 3D, what this all means to scanning with LiDAR. So that's it on this particular video. Hopefully that was informative for you and you enjoyed the differences between learning between the two different sensors. I'm eager to learn more, and if any of you have any comments or any information that you want to post in the video, by all means, please do so. Thanks a lot, everyone, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.